Congressman Andy Biggs, thank you for joining the Epoch Times Espanol. Such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you.
Congressman, I want to start by you giving me kind of like a brief summary of how much has your state improved with the border.
Oh, so yeah, that's a great question. Look, Arizona used to be just inundated. I could go down to various parts on the border and literally stand there for 15 minutes and watch 200 people walk across, 300 people walk across. It's not that way anymore at all. For the most part, there are borders under control. We do have a bit of a problem. We do have a lot of area, about 80 to 100 miles with no fencing or anything like that, really, other than some wire fencing. And that's still the number one human trafficking and drug trafficking corridor. We've got to finish bringing that under control. But otherwise, it is night and day improvement.
How are Hispanic families in Arizona thinking about this? What's their perspective? How they're feeling?
They're grateful that the border's under control. They like that. They're concerned, I think, ultimately about crime, and they like to see the crime go down. We still have too many fentanyl deaths, and we still have too much of that type of violent crime. And I think in Arizona, we are also concerned that the cartels are not going to take this laying down. And we know that there's drone incursions every day still. So we still face it, but most of my Latino constituents, I think, really are concerned about economic issues. They want the economy to get better in Arizona.
How is their life going to improve?
Well, for one thing, everybody's wages are going to take-home wages are going to get better, and then also when you start looking, if they're doing something that they're getting paid tips for, that's going to be an improvement for them. Overtime, no tax on overtime. If they want to buy a car, no tax on the interest on the car. These are things that affect everybody. It doesn't matter what your demographic is. You're going to be benefited from it.
Even Hispanics that are from the Democrat Party will benefit of it.
It doesn't matter what your political party is. The law is the law, and they're going to all benefit from that tax package.
Exactly. And when it comes to the One Big Beautiful Bill, there was also concerns about how the benefits of Medicaid will impact. Could you give a brief idea of how this?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that I thought got the most misconstrued. A lot of untruths were told about it. The way it stacks up is under Medicaid, there's two programs, and most people forget that there's two programs. There's the traditional. So if you're elderly, disabled, a pregnant woman, or a child, nothing changes for you at all. But if you are an able-bodied adult and you've been getting Medicaid, in other words, public health, what has to happen now is, if you haven't been working, is you've got to go out and work for at least 20 hours a week to get this benefit that's being paid for by all the taxpayers. So that's all. It's just a working requirement. And the second thing is to look back and see a little bit more often whether you're eligible for it, because in many states that doesn't happen. And for instance, in Arizona, a report came about 3 weeks ago that said as much as $6 billion worth of fraud every year in Arizona on that side of the house, which is the able-bodied working adult who aren't qualified to get these benefits, but they've been getting those benefits.
Why it increased so much as to $6 billion? What happened there?
Well, what's happening is the state was not vetting these individuals. Anybody could just come in and sign up and misrepresent their situation, and so it could be as high as $6 billion. It's hard to believe because Arizona only spends about I shouldn't say only, but spends about $22 billion in medical care from all sources on about 2 million people. So somehow almost a third of that is potentially fraud, and that has to be cleaned up.
Some people are also concerned about the national debt being increased with the One Big Beautiful Bill. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, that is a huge thing for me. I would say that we did something we haven't ever done before, which is one reason that put me there, and that is we actually reduced spending by over $1 trillion, which has never happened before. Did I want more? Yes. And you're still going to move north of well over $60 trillion in national debt by the time the 10-year cycle is up. And Congress has just got to do a better job at reducing its spending and managing its income.
Yeah, exactly. What actions are going to be taken in Congress to counter that?
Well, so you have some of the DOGE recommendations that were made. There's a bill that the House already passed out. It was a small cut. It was $10 billion. It's sitting in the Senate. Needs to happen, and the Senate needs to approve it, and that'll reduce by $10 billion, and even more over time. What Congress has got to do is Congress has got to balance its budget. So we're required to, by June 30th of every year, the House of Representatives is required to get 12 budget bills over to the Senate. And the last time that was done, 1976. And in the last 10 years, we've done what's called CRs.
Why?
Because Congress is not good, apparently, at actually balancing its budget, and that's the problem. And so people like me that have been pushing on that for years haven't really voted for CRs. I voted for one CR in all the time I've been in Congress, and that was because it triggered the reconciliation package that the one big beautiful bill package that we just did. But Congress is not being held accountable by the public. The public needs to tell the members of Congress, stop overspending, balance your budget. Let's fix this.
Is it a bipartisan effort to...
Oh, yeah, both parties. Turns out there's really only one party in D.C., and it's the party that wants to keep spending money, and that's both Republican and Democrat.
How can you reach both parties?
Well,
similar idea.
I don't know that you're going to reach the Democrats because they can't seem to spend enough money, but you can reach the Republicans, and the Republicans need to go forward and push that. So that's why, an event such as where we're sitting today is a good event, because I think it helps people coalesce around the idea of what needs to happen in Washington, D.C., because what happens in D.C. is actually going to impact everybody.
Yes. Congressman Biggs, I also want to have your take on the recent deportation violence that are happening in California. Arizona is a border state where, of course, ICE agents were also on the line, and just wanted to get your thoughts about what's happening there with the raids at the marijuana facility, children found there. What do you think overall?
So what's not reported enough is that where these raids are taking place, those are because there are criminal, illegal aliens there. They've committed some crimes. That's why the ICE is there. And if you're illegally there but you haven't committed a crime, they can't look the other way, right? They have to take care of it. But you're right. There's abuse where children are being taken and they're essentially being trafficked. By the way, we still haven't recovered something like 300,000 or 400,000 children that came in under the Biden administration. They just simply lost them, and so they were trafficked. But the violence that you're seeing here is being encouraged actually by Democrat leaders who have said that the ICE agents are Nazis, that they're the Gestapo, and we've got to stop them at any cost. And some have said we got to have blood, etc. Those types of things are outrageous because it defies the rule of law. And if you're going to have a free society, then you have to have the rule of law. Otherwise, you either get anarchy or authoritarianism, and either one is bad for the vast majority of people. But when you have the rule of law, that means if I'm weak, or I will be protected by the rule of law. And this notion that they want to dox these ICE agents, dox their families, and go out and attack them, that's just that's dangerous for everyone.
And we've seen Mexican flags every time there's violence there. Is there any action that Congress is taking to investigate further, like who's financing this violence? Yeah,
we've actually held hearings in Congress to determine if there's funding going on there. We think there is. I've introduced legislation. It was supposed to go in yesterday. I don't think it did, so it'll probably be going in early next week, dealing with if you are assaulting a federal agent the maximum minimums are going to go up on you. You're going to have to spend more time in prison. And the reason that has to happen is because this is, as you say, this is not organic. This isn't just happening where a bunch of people are there and they get going. This is organized. There are cell phones. They're using encrypted messaging. They're moving people. There's
The equipment.
They're moving the equipment. They're bringing blocks. They're bringing baklavas. They're bringing all of these things, balaclavas. They're bringing balaclavas. They're bringing all of these things in there, and that's organized. And that means that it's a conspiracy to commit violence, which in some places you would call that an insurrection or a coup. In this instance, it's nothing less than a conspiracy.
Okay, and is there any reports on things happening like this in Arizona?
We've seen protests, but they've not been as violent, and part of it is because we've had some of our sheriffs in Maricopa County, where Phoenix is, down in other parts of the state. The sheriffs have said zero tolerance. If you do anything, we're going to arrest you and put you in jail, and we will prosecute. That type of thing deters, and that's what's not happening in California. In California, you actually have political leaders saying, "Come on out and cause trouble."
Exactly. And we even have Tom Homan going, to different outlets saying, please stop targeting these ICE agents that are just doing their job. Right. But I do want to also ask if there's any action that Congress is taking about this unaccompanied minors that are being found in these facilities. Is there anything that Congress can do?
Well, first of all, we have to make sure that the part of the government, which is Office of Refugee and Resettlement, that they are properly funded, make sure that they are taking care of these kids. What needs to happen, in my opinion, is we have to get back to this DNA where we did some experimentation with DNA, but the left says we don't want any DNA on people under the age of 12. But if you have DNA on these kids who are unaccompanied minors, we might be able to track their parents, and if reunification is possible, great. If not, then we need to we're going to have to do foster parents. Those are things Congress can deal with resources and the law regarding DNA.
All right, Congressman Biggs, thank you so much for joining Epoch Times Espanol. Hope this is not the last time we talk.
Thank you. Good to see you, and I hope we see you in D.C. next.